This is your mom's favorite show, Beer and Chill podcast. My name is Jan,
And I'm Craig.
and we would really appreciate if you would stop by and listen to our show. We are talking about interesting facts about your favorite movies, games, and TV shows.
For example, did you know that Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen had a real-life beef because Christopher Lee wanted to play Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?
And many other great facts.
We hope you check us out and enjoy the rest of your show. Bye-bye.
What's your favorite scary movie?
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
For God's sake, what happened to our eyes?
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
They're here.
Welcome, victims, to the Horr-Gasm podcast. Kill the lights, lock the doors, get comfy, and prepare for the sexiest and scariest podcast around. I'm Nick, and with me is my co-host, Ali.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
Good.
We're almost at Halloween.
We are at the doorstep
Spooktember.
of
Kind
Halloween.
of sad it's almost over.
Yeah, but luckily, horror movies is year-round.
Right, totally. It's just like people that don't usually post horror-themed stuff like all the time are posting right now. So it's just like all my pages are just flooded with Halloween stuff, and it makes me
Yeah.
so happy.
Well, like, I think it's Halloween.24.
Yes. Yeah.
They got a bunch of good, horror-themed and Halloween-themed posts. And
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah, lots of the people that we follow on Instagram, like on our Horr-Gasm account, they post stuff like that all year, which is awesome.
Yep.
But like even the ones that aren't super horror-y are posting right now, and it's just like, I don't know, it's nice. And like this is the time of year where I can like wear my Alien t-shirt and my Jason t-shirts out, and people don't look at you like, oh, you're one of those people.
Jeez.
Because lots of my, I have either, like, my normal worky clothes, I have Disney clothes, or I have horror clothes. So, that's
Yay, horror clothes.
right? And I just got some more, too, like, because everything, like, Halloween is, like, being sold right now. So you can get stuff with, like, super cool skulls or, like, angry things on it, and I love it. Oh,
Yeah. Well, there's one, she's a wrestler, but she's
Sure.
also on Instagram. Her name's Shotzi Blackheart, and she's all about the horror and scary movies, and she's got a lot of good posts
Yes.
on Instagram, so...
cool.
And she's got a sweet, she comes out in this kind of like this biker helmet. It's got horns.
Sweet.
And I think it was a month or so ago, her car got stolen,
Ugh.
which had her wrestling gear,
Course.
her helmet. Then she
Course.
had, they found it. And she
Oh, good.
recorded her, the police took her to the car, and
Mm-hmm.
it was, luckily her stuff, like her gear was still in there. And she was so
Awesome.
thankful, because that helmet, when she was training, it was like in the training facility.
Yeah.
And every day she'd go by and she'd, give it the old pat or whatever.
Aww.
And when she was finished, she asked the trainers, "Do you mind? Can I take that with me?" They're like, "Take it. It's yours."
Yeah, why not?
And yeah,
Good for her. Jesus. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm so glad she got that back, because it's really part of her thing, her gimmick, her shtick,
Yes.
and good for her.
Yeah. Yeah, there's and in the same vein as like people posting and stores selling stuff, they've also there's been an influx of movies on, like in Netflix and Prime and all that. Like I've watched so many horror movies this last I don't know,
Nice.
week. Well, I guess, we're obviously
So-
recording this early,
Yeah.
but it's been the last couple weeks that I've just been watching nothing but horror movies. And Netflix right now, even on their homepage, they have looking for something spooky, try these. And I'm like, oof, I watched all those. Like today, what did I watch? I watched almost all of Haunting of Bly Manor today.
I caught a bit of that.
Yeah.
It looks
this season is so
different.
much spookier.
Looks different. It's
Yeah.
because I was watching. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything away.
Right,
but,
of course.
Like this little girl is going through this major mental, not anguish, but she's
Yes.
reliving stuff, and
Yeah.
she kind of realizes I'm doing it again, aren't I?
Yeah.
And I'm coming in kind of missing the beginning. I'm I don't
Yep.
know if in the middle,
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on here?
Exactly. These, like, Hill House was the first season, and Bly Manor is, like, technically the second season, but a whole separate sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
But, like, it's whole set, like, it's sort of like an anthology, right? Like, it's like American Horror Story, where it has nothing to do with the first season.
Yeah.
But last night, I was telling you, I watched In the Tall Grass, and it was the same sort of a thing where, like, it's a lot of time jumping. Like, and I also never thought that I'd be able to sit and, like, through a 2-hour movie that's nothing but grass, but here we are. And it was, I was like, it was fine. Like, I kind of enjoyed it. I was texting my sister while I was watching it, and I was like, it's fine. It's kind of creepy. But,
Yeah.
like, it's Stephen King, so it's always kind of, like, fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, like,
Yeah.
a little, like, some things are just a little much. And there's, I don't know, it was different. But,
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about that.
it wasn't bad. It was just weird. And, like, I don't know. The time jumpy thing, like, it's fine and it works. Like, it works in Bly Manor, but it doesn't work as great in, like, a 2-hour movie. Like, you can't really establish it as well as it could be.
Unless you do it the way the Bridge Curse did.
Right.
Which
You're
was-
absolutely right.
which you-
And that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Is that there's a right and a wrong way to do it. Like this one, by the end, you really, like...
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
I
Do
don't
they
know.
explain the time jumps to the viewers?
Like, kind of. It's hard to explain.
that's-
It's hard to explain. It's like, they're like, oh, look at, this is what's happening. They don't actually give any exposition, like how they do in the Bridge Curse. It's just sort of like,
See, and that's...
demons.
See, and that's
See?
where... Again, that's where I see Korean or,
Yes.
or Asian horror, they get it. They get the whole exposition,
Yep.
and they explain.
Right.
If you didn't pick up before, they kind of throw it in your face, this is what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
I
then we
agree.
throw a little more twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is more, you got it figured out yet? Nope. Tough.
Yeah. Sucks
The
for
end.
you.
You have to watch it a couple more times to get it. you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's like and I'm thinking like maybe the book might be better, but it's just I don't know, the movie, like, it was fine. I enjoyed it actually. It was creepier than I was expecting it to be, and like Patrick Wilson's in it. And I
Oh, yeah.
love him. And he played such a weird character in this movie.
Patrick Wilson. Isn't he Putty from Seinfeld? I
No.
don't think it's someone else. Different
Nope,
Patrick.
he was he's in all those he played the moth guy in Watchmen, and then he also he's in all
him.
those movies
Okay, yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
people who do the paranormal stuff.
Yes, I
Yes,
know you mean
and
now,
he's
sorry.
in Insidious, and
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. I'm
yeah,
thinking of different Patrick
yes,
guys.
yeah.
There's like,
He's fantastic.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Peter. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes, I know what you mean.
I love him.
Yeah.
He was such a good actor.
Yeah,
he's
he's in so many horror movies, so I was like, man, like, he wouldn't turn me wrong, right? And he was
Yeah.
fantastic in this. The other actors and actors, like, it was kind of, there's an incest thing that goes on partway through this movie, and I was like,
It's
Stephen King.
Yeah, Stephen King.
I like how we both just know.
Up your old tricks again,
Hey,
Stephen.
you. But, yeah, I don't know. It was fine. Yeah. And I watched, because we're getting closer to Halloween, and, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis, so I watched Terror Train, which she was in. I was telling you about this.
Yes.
I'd really like to add this to our lineup, because I really liked it. Like, it was it was like a slasher, obviously, but it was, like, really messed up, and I kind of loved it. And I was like, I can't believe that this one, like, isn't as, you know, out there as I thought. Like, I'd never heard of it. I had no idea. And she was like she was right all up in there. Like, she was main character, final girl again.
Oh, good.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, I was thinking we should add it. I hope it stays on Shudder that long, because we have quite the list of lineup of movies. So
I'm sure I could always get off Amazon or somewhere if need be.
for sure, or we could rent it off YouTube or something.
Or eBay.
Totally.
I found a few classics on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so you watch all these movies.
I'm
now,
watching the heck out of movies.
Now you watch one.
Yep.
This was number one on my agenda. Now became the last part. You watched and reviewed. Well, not reviewed, but you
Yeah.
gave your opinion.
Yep.
Of Hubie Halloween, that Adam
Yep.
Sandler's kind of Halloween movie.
Yes.
I was like, really, it looks so good, and you're like, you have to watch it. So I did.
Yep.
I did watch
Yep.
it. And my opinion is the exact opposite of yours.
Right.
You weren't a fan of it.
Not my jam.
It wasn't your humor level. It wasn't
Yes.
your Jim Jam. To me, I loved it.
Yeah, which is
It was
great.
it was a great. It wasn't scary,
Mm-hmm.
but it had enough twists and turns. It was, and the way I explained to you is, it was a love story to his other movies.
Right.
He had his characters. He had what's his name?
The,
Crap.
Are you thinking of the guy from like the asylum or whatever?
Yeah, the guard guy.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about though. Yeah. The Rob. No, not Rob Schneider. What's his face?
No,
It's Why can't I think of his name now? Oh my
I don't know, 'cause
gosh.
he's a classic, well-known actor. Like he's
Yeah.
done so much.
Ben Stiller.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Took
you,
me
Ben
a
Stiller.
second.
Yeah, Ben
It's like
Stiller
Zoolander. If I just say Zoolander, will
Exactly.
anything?
So he reprises his role from Happy Gilmore
Yes.
as the not the guard but the
Yep.
whatever it is. It's got some of his classic buddies in there. You got Rob Schneider. You got I don't know other names. Kenan Thompson's in it.
Yep.
Shaquille O'Neal's in it.
Yep.
And just his regular cast, and it
Mm-hmm.
has him playing not the brightest character,
Mm-hmm.
but lovable.
Yep.
And,
Definitely.
And it's got a very earnest feel to it.
Sure.
It's got that same kind of the slapstick gags,
Mm-hmm.
like his quick actions. It's a very mixture.
Sure.
I think it's almost like, again, back to a love story, to Ernest Scared Stupid,
Mm-hmm.
to some of his other movies, and just the feel, like even the love interest.
Sure.
She was from Happy Gilmore.
Yep. Right.
And it's just like it's got Ray Liotta in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a great cast.
Yep.
It's got the comedy. It's more Adam Sandler's more kind of lowbrow.
I was
humor.
gonna say comedy is a maybe objective.
Well, it's his brand of humor,
Right.
and he sticks with that.
Yeah. But like I like those older movies, but it's just like this one did absolutely nothing for me. And I went into it like super excited. Like I was telling you, I was like, we were gonna watch Black Klansman, and we watched this instead, and I was so disappointed.
That's too bad. Like
Yeah, it's
everyone has
just
their own opinion.
and
Everyone
like
has their own
and like I'm
views.
not saying that I'm like have upper brow humor in it. Then no, that's not it. I like stupid movies. I watch Family Guy on repeat.
We talk about
It's just
Grandma's Boy nonstop.
yes, all the time.
It's-
Like, but this just like I couldn't, and I tried. I was like, okay, well. That was whatever, but maybe, we're getting into it. Oh, there's going to be a twist and a turn. And like, I thought that everything was so predictable because I was like, okay, if they get me with something, fine. I'll be happy.
and it throws off so many false flags.
But they're obvious is what I was frustrated with is like, it's so obvious. And I think part of the reason is because it's always the same actors. So, okay, well, we're missing this actor or that actor. So they have
Yeah.
to be here somewhere.
But it keeps giving you not switches, but it keeps turns.
Right.
Like you have this one character who breaks out. You're like, okay, this is the bad guy, and we get a turn with that. And like, okay, well then it's other stuff going on. Maybe it's this person. There's a turn. You got a guy who thinks he's a werewolf. That's a turn. There's so many. Again, I call them false flags because you think, okay, this is what's going on.
It's like a red herring. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, Scream. When I first saw Scream, there's so many red herrings. I didn't know who the killer was until they told me in the movie.
Totally. But I agree with that where like I had no idea until the very end. But this one it's like it was so obvious. I just found it very obvious and like
It's fine.
I get frustrated with like movies and like lots of movies that are too predictable. Like even in Bly Manor there's a few twists and turns that they try to throw at you that are telegraphed right from the beginning. And I was talking to my sister about this. Is this like I think it's like starting to be me where it's like you've watched like over the last 2 years I've watched over 250 horror movies.
Nice.
And I think I'm to the point where it's just like nothing surprises me anymore. So I think that it's partly on me. And that's the thing is that like I was scrolling through Instagram and people are like there's no like middle ground for Hubie Halloween. They either didn't like it or they really liked it. And I think it's like people of certain, people who have different tastes, obviously, and different kinds of comedy taste is all. And, like, there was nothing wrong with it. Like, that was just not my cup of tea.
And I get that. No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
And I like Adam Sandler movies. And I've watched every single one of his Netflix ones. Every one. Everyone, you guys. And I just, like, I couldn't.
And that's fair. You know, whatever. Like, everyone has their own opinion.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
You didn't so much enjoy this one, but you like his older ones.
Totally.
I really enjoyed this one because it felt like some of his older ones.
See, and that's probably it, yeah.
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 But you know what? That's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with us having different opinions.
Totally.
Have a nice discussion about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince you. You're like, I'm not having it. I'm like, fine. You're not appreciation. You didn't like as much as me. Does not take away from my enjoyment of the movie.
Can you just, like, tell everybody on the internet
That's
that?
the thing. I was going to get to that. Everyone is like that. Twitter's bad for that. Where
Yes.
you go there and type, I loved Hubie Halloween. It was a great movie. I had a good time with it. Good job, Adam Sandler, blah, 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 blah. You will get either 50% to 60 to 70% of people disagreeing, telling you that you are wrong, you're stupid, go kill yourself, fuck you, blah, 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 blah.
Like, is the internet okay?
No, internet is not okay.
See, and this is the thing is that, like, with running our Instagram, I'm not used to being on the internet. You said that you were at somewhere the other night and you were trying to find a picture of me, and I'm a ghost on the internet.
You are. You really are.
I'm off the grid.
Yeah.
So I don't do any social media or anything, and it's just like,
And
it's
you know what?
hard.
That's really a good thing.
Yeah,
Because
right?
there's so much toxicity on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, not so much.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's more just here's pictures and either you like it or you just skip
Scroll
it.
past, yeah.
Yeah. You can comment, but you can always turn those off.
Right.
But I get bummed out. I go looking on Twitter, like, okay, what's going on Twitter, news, and I get the negative and negative and negative. I'm like, you know what? Off.
Yeah.
What does Facebook got? And I get the same thing.
Yes.
Like, oh, I like my groups I'm part of, someone posted something cool, go to comments, and you get hate and hate. Some of it, is good.
Yeah.
I know when I go in to have discussions, I try to be fair. I don't mean to go blast someone unless they put on something that's deservedly so. Like,
sure.
Of a Alien vs. Predator post, some woman put on there this whole story about her husband. They divorced, and then due to some therapists, they're not together. I'm like, why is this on here? GTFO. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
People came here to read about Alien Predator. Get out of here.
Yeah. I don't need to hear about your divorce and re-acquaintance. I don't care.
Yeah.
Where's
Go
the
to
alien
Dr.
part?
Phil for that.
Where's the Predator part? Did he have a chest burster? That'd be interesting.
Then we can talk.
Did you get hit by a face hugger? Is that why you divorced? I don't know. But it's not interesting. It's not valid. It's not relevant. Get the fuck out.
I agree 100%.
And people throw that on there. That's what people call trolls. I was called a troll for having an opinion on legalizing marijuana. I'm like, oh, this is a troll. I'm like, no, I'm giving an opinion. Like, what the fuck?
Is this like pre-legalization?
Yes, this is a couple years ago.
I was like, but we're in Canada.
Yeah.
She's legal.
There was the talk about how it is a gateway drug. I'm like, is it?
Yeah.
It's a gateway to munchies. Honestly, I believe that alcohol is more of a gateway drug than anything else out there. That is just my opinion, though.
Yeah.
Do I have any science background behind it? Fuck no. This is just my opinion. I have drank, I have smoked weed. I find that I was offered while drinking, hey, do I do some coke? No. No thanks. Okay, man. If you want, I'll show you how. Cool. I don't want to, but cool. Let's drink some more.
Hard pass, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have enough money for a drug problem at this point in my life.
Oh God, that's. I've known some people. It's not good.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's not good at all.
Yeah.
This took a downer. Let's get back to the Halloween. Let's get back to the podcast part.
Well, why don't we watched an awesome movie this week, a new movie called #Alive on Netflix, and why don't we just get into it?
We should. Let's do it.
Yeah,
right now.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Do it.
we watched #Alive. It's a 2020 movie directed by Il Cho and written as well by Il Cho and Matt Naylor. So, yeah. Hooray.
This is a good movie.
This was fun. This was a fun movie. It's one of the ones that we've watched that is, I don't know, it was kind of, you kind of said it in the beginning, and you're like, it's sort of like if Judge Dredd had zombies.
Yeah, it's...
And I agree with that 100%.
It's set in a...
Apartment complex.
Apartment complex,
yeah.
Thank you. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anything else. You see outside, and you see inside the rooms and the hallway. That's it. It's
That's
very
the whole
claustrophobic.
movie. Yep, you're right.
And there's always a threat.
Yes.
There's always a threat. They're always around. You don't know where, but you know they're there. And I like this movie. I thought it was a great movie.
I did too. I actually enjoyed it. I don't think they reinvented the wheel. I think it's like all things that we've seen before, like we were just talking about in Talking Chop.
They almost did.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
Really?
they almost did something new and fresh, which I liked. And I told you while we were watching.
Yeah.
When the one neighbor turns
Yep.
and he gets pushed outside, and this other guy grabs him. This other zombie grabs him and just beats him up and eats him.
Yes.
And I thought, that's new.
Mm-hmm.
In every zombie movie I've seen, the zombies always ignore their own
Each
kind.
other. Yeah.
It's
Right.
always whatever's living, they attack. Now, for a second I thought they're going to have zombies that attack everything.
Right. Yeah.
Which I thought would be... I haven't seen that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen that, except War and Bodies.
Right.
That is the only exception.
Yes.
And that was even iffy, where
Exactly.
you got the zombies and you got like the super skeleton spooky zombies.
Yes. Exactly.
But that's I've only seen it once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. They never attack each other. And they start with this. I'm like, okay, this is new. This is good. What else you got? And then we show a shot of them on the streets, just together, ambling around. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. So close yet so far.
Because that'd be something cool and new and fresh.
Super cool.
And I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And I wish they kept it.
Yeah. It was really interesting. I don't know. I like this. Like a bit of a social media aspect to this.
Oh, yeah.
Like that sort of, especially at
as
the beginning
much.
of the movie. Right.
I thought from the trailer it'd have a bigger influence, a bigger impact.
You're right, because
'Cause-
that's what the trailers were about,
Yeah.
and even the posters. It's all like him with his phone and like the selfie stick trying to
See,
do whatever.
In the movie explains why he's doing that, but I
Right.
thought he's trying to take pictures. He's
That's what I
trying to
thought, too.
document himself. He's being so aloof about, oh, there's zombies. I'm going to become a huge YouTube star because of doing this.
Yes.
And that's the main character is. He's a big YouTube, well, not big, but he's a YouTube star.
Yeah, or streamer or whatever.
Yeah, he streams
Yeah.
movie or games he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, this is what he's going to do. That's, again, it's a new modern take.
Right.
Have a
yeah.
streamer and have him stream a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Haven't seen that yet either.
Right. Or
Did
like
we-
going out, and streaming and yeah, all that kind of
Did
stuff.
we get that? No.
No.
And that makes me sad because it could have
Yeah.
been something so different.
Exactly. And that's what I mean, I think, when it's like, we've seen all of this sort of kind of before where, you're trapped in a place and you got to go to another place and, help
There's-
somebody else. And it felt like, what was it, Dawn of the Dead was the one with them all?
Yes.
Yes. Kind of felt like that.
Yeah.
Like, with,
Oh, yeah.
what was the guy across the street, Toby or something? What was his
No,
name?
not Toby.
Todd. It was something.
Tony?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but that's, when he finds a girl, it's kind of like, oh, this is very reminiscent. But I don't know what else you can do with zombie movies. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, all hope is lost. Oh, I have hope again. Oh, all hope is lost.
Hope is
I
dashed
have hope
again.
again. Yeah, exactly. Because you just basically every zombie movie, they get, into
There's-
a corner and then have to fight their way out or
Yeah.
gets rescued, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, and we
It's
get
like
those
every level of Left 4 Dead.
and we get those false flags again.
Yes. Yep.
So,
Yeah. Repeatedly. Yeah. That was fun. I'm glad
Yeah,
we
but-
watched it.
oh yeah. Like there's
Yeah.
I don't think these are doing take backs, it's just things they could have done differently, but still what we got was a good movie.
I agree 100%. It was not bad at all. I think, I've definitely watched worse zombie movies. Definitely.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I've watched worse movies, so I mean, you know, it was just enjoyable, and a couple times it gave me a bit of sense of panic, which is always appreciative.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always like that. Like,
Yeah.
panic me. I want to feel my heart rate increase. I want to have my breath quicken. Like, I want to feel like I'm there and I'm like, oh my god, you know? Like, this zombie's gonna get him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only, I think, one somewhat jump scare.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Like again,
There
this
was
is
not
Asian
much, yeah.
horror. They don't go for the jump scares as much.
Yes.
There's more of them misdirection scares.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that I did absolutely love that I appreciate every time it happens is when we jump right into it.
Yes.
There is no like, let's establish characters and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
They just go right into it. We have no idea who this guy is that we're following. We don't know where his family is. We don't know his situation. Just like a minute into the movie, they're zombies.
They really get the less is more mentality.
Yes.
This is the guy. This is what he does. This is where he lives. Go.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
People get so worked up. I don't know what his favorite color is. I don't know what age is he. What is he in school? Who cares?
Yes.
It really doesn't matter to the plot. Right now, he is stuck in an apartment. Zombies around. Go. That's all you need to know.
And I was scrolling through some of the critic reviews while I was, we were in between getting stuff ready here, and the critics are like, well, there's no flavor to the characters, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you
learn.
serious?
No. And that's where I think the critics don't get it.
Yeah.
You as the movie goes along, you see the character. You see how he reacts to what's going on.
Yes.
Because you see him in real time as he's coping, as he's adjusting. You see him, he starts drinking. Like and he goes, not every day. He goes day 1, day 2, day 7, day 9.
Mm-hmm.
And it just progresses. And it's, again, I think it's brilliant. I think how he did this was really good.
Yeah, his acting was phenomenal. Like his facial expressions, his like screaming, crying, spazzing, everything.
My one drawback, I wish we listened to it with original Asian voices.
Instead of dubbing.
We watched the dub, which
did,
I didn't think there was. I thought it was,
Same,
South Korean voices with subtitles. Which we have subtitles on, as usual, because of you.
Because of me, yeah.
But, whatever. I could care less. But when he first says mom at the beginning, I'm like, that sounded a lot like a English mom.
Yeah.
I don't think South Koreans say mom.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, no, there's no way, maybe he's just, like, and then he was talking to his streaming friends, and I was like, oh, maybe, he's just streaming in English. Like, that's a totally understandable thing. Lots of people overseas stream in English, and I was like, no, we're dubbed.
Yeah. And just playing PUBG.
Which is fine,
He's playing PUBG, but just talking about raiding. I'm like, wrong game, man. That's
nice
wrong
try.
So, we kind of... How did we hear about the movie? We heard about it on Netflix. We both kind of heard about it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's new-ish. It's not new.
Yeah.
But it's been out for a while.
For like a month or two or something. Yeah, it's been because we looked at it like a couple months ago and we're like, man, this is kind of cool. And I was like, well, we should watch it. Like, it looks good. And I was reading online. Where was I reading? It was on TikTok and I saw it on some other thing online. And they're like, this is, just as good as Train to Busan, which is one of my favorite movies. And I was like, oh, we should just do it. Let's just go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
My God. So
it
much.
is late.
It's not even late.
It is late.
It's like barely even late. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. It's kind of like Train to Busan, but it's, I don't know. The characters in that one, again, were not established, like, as readily. But, I don't know. I found like Train to Busan had more heart maybe, and it was a bit more fast paced. There were scenes in that will stay with me forever.
Train to Busan has the family theme to it.
You're
the
right.
Father and daughter.
You're right. Yeah.
This one has son and girl across the way.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's what I liked about 28 Days Later as well, is when they find Frank, I think, right, and his daughter.
I forget his name.
Sure. Mad Eye
Moody. I was going to say Mad Eye Moody.
And that immediately then there's that sense of camaraderie and family, and you're like, yep. Like, you just latch on to that sort of.
Yeah, and it's even more heartbreaking than when he gets infected.
Exactly.
His last words are, "I love you very much." You know that.
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait till we do that. I think it's coming up at some point here. I don't
What?
remember, actually. I think it's on a Train to Busan.
Oh, Train to Busan.
Sorry.
20 days later.
Yeah. I mean, they could be...
It's down the way. I think that's, if not, I think it's either December or in the New Year.
Yeah, it's December or New Year, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I don't
somewhere.
remember.
It's coming up.
There, guys, we promise.
It's in the future. It's coming.
Yeah. Okay, so how about characters?
Oh,
Since we're talking about other characters. There's hardly any. There's a very, very small cast.
This is a very small cast.
Yes.
There's all the extras.
Yes, exactly.
But, I get to say all the hard names.
Good luck.
So, this Alive stars Yu In as Oh Jun-woo, a gamer who struggles to survive a zombie outbreak.
Perfect.
Park Shin-hye as Kim Yu-bin, a mysterious lady who helps Jun-woo survive.
Yes.
She's one across the way, and she's
cool.
badass.
She's badass. She's cool.
She is very cool. Lee Hyun-wook as Lee Sang-shul, the infected tenant whom Jun-woo lets in.
Oh, he has a name?
Apparently.
Oh.
I missed it. Oh Hae-won as a policewoman who was killed by the infected. And Yong Bo-soo as a masked man who saves Jun-woo and Bu-yen. There's more to it, but that's spoiler.
Yeah, I was like...
We're just going to spoil
okay.
anyways.
Cool.
We'll find out.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, it's a very small cast. Even, like, the policewoman and the neighbor are in it for all of, what, a minute?
Yeah.
2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the main character and the girl across the way.
Yeah.
Those are the two people that we see the whole time.
Yeah. And
she doesn't show up till partway through either. So.
Yeah, she kind of shows up with a big impact.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of nice, that they find each other.
Yeah.
And that's but she must have been watching him. Right?
I don't know. Because she thinks she would have tried to contact him sooner than when she does.
But he didn't, plaster up his windows until, after that. And he had his window open all the time.
Yeah, who knows what she was doing. She could have been
Well, she had a whole fort.
Yeah, she
built in there.
She really built a fort.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I would do. I would build a fort. Build a blanket fort.
Mm-hmm.
Should we get into the plot?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Jun-woo, who lives with his parents and sister in an apartment complex, spends his days video gaming live streaming. I wish.
Right? That's the life.
Yeah.
And I know that, YouTubers work hard and everything, but, to get paid to play video games all day, it's just, one of those things where, it hurts my heart because, your parents are always like, you'll never make any money that way, and that's not a real career, and then you see people living your dream.
Yeah, Game Grumps.
Right.
And it's funny because he's up at 10 in the morning. He's like, oh, it's so
rolls
tough.
out of bed. Yeah.
While his family is out, the news reports that a mysterious, rapidly spreading disease is causing its victims to attack and eat uninfected people.
Yeah, they say that there's a cannibalism part.
Yeah, and the government has lost control. From his balcony, Jun-woo sees his neighbors fleeing or attacking one another. He goes to check the hallway, but a neighbor barges in and succumbs to infection.
Yes. Oh, it's crazy. This part is kind of insane because I like how they did this because we get to see somebody actually turning.
Yeah.
We get to see them actually turning and what happens. And the acting that this guy did is phenomenal. And it's sort of like what we talked about with the Bridge Curse, where you get to, it's almost over the top, but to the point where it really works.
Oh, yeah.
Because when they're transforming, what happens first is they start bleeding from the eyes.
Yeah.
And, our main character, has a knife and doesn't immediately stab him, which
he's like,
get
out.
Angry about. Yeah. But then, as this guy's, I don't know if he was trying to leave or what was happening, but their body is, basically breaking. Their bones are, snapping in and out of place, and,
Yeah, it's very weird. It's a weird change.
It's spastic, and he is, flailing around and cracking all over and, just guttural screaming, and I'm like, this is not bad. Okay, I'm in. Like, if this is what you're showing me in the first
And
5-10 minutes, I'm in.
even before that, when they got there, he's watching people outside, panic, everyone's
Yes.
running, and this woman was just standing there with a cleaver.
Yep.
And a girl shows up, she's like, Mom, what's going on? And she kind of walks over and gives her a big hug. And this got me. You picked up faster than me. You hear a scream, and like the mom kind of grabs her tight. I'm like, oh, the mom was infected. No, it was the daughter. She basically chomped on the neck. Mom goes down, girl on top, and just dum 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 dum.
Yeah. Nom.
But so we got infected roommate or tenant.
Yep.
And Junwoo barely manages to push him out and lock the door. He then receives messages from his parents telling him that they are safe and he has to survive.
Yes.
Yeah. And even this is when
pressure.
the other zombie guy grabs the tenant who just turned. And I'm like, oh, good. The zombies are going to attack other zombies.
Yep.
And then they don't. Mm-hmm. And I was so excited. And it never happened. Junwoo
That would be messy, though, if they ever decided to do that. That's messy, right?
That would be a whole new factor.
Yeah, I agree.
And it would almost be, survival of the fittest with the
Right.
zombies. Whoever's the most opportunistic.
Right.
And you'd have to be more extra vigilant because you could try and get away when they're distracted, but then they both would turn to you and then they both go after you.
And it's also sort of hinted at later in the movie with Mask Man that they can starve to death, the zombies.
It's alluded to.
So is it kind of, because that 28 Days Later is the one where they starve to death, right? Right?
I don't think so.
Is that the one where, like, they're on the side, like, they see them over the tunnel and they're all starving? One of the movies shows them starving. I thought it was 28 Days Later.
I don't think it was, because it had them tied up and he was still going. Yeah, the one guy tied up.
Right. But I mean, like, when they fast forward in time, when they're in their little country house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's, like, guys by a tunnel or something, and they're literally skin and bones. Like, they're still alive, but they're skin and bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's the same sort of thing, because they don't really say what's happening to these people. They say they think it's like a mental illness, but it's involved with cannibalism, and I don't know, it's like a virus, a neurological virus or something.
I don't think zombies can starve to death.
Yeah,
I don't think
right?
they can.
Well, because if you're dead, you can't.
There's a movie called Day of the Dead. You haven't seen it. I've seen it. You haven't yet.
Okay.
Where this is like years after zombie infection.
Right.
And starts off, we see this zombie who is literally skin and bones.
Right.
But he's still going.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously it's a fictional monster, so it's, like, so everybody has different rules, but, I think, in the 28 Days Later situation where you get to the point where you're just so thin, like, maybe it doesn't die, but maybe it's just, like, almost immobilized.
Yes, I agree,
and bones, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But obviously this takes place over, like, the span of a couple weeks, so it's not like we get a full picture of what it would actually be like.
Yeah. I don't think they can starve. I think he was thinking in human terms.
Right. You're right.
I have to feed her or else she will starve.
Yeah.
She must be so hungry, so.
Yeah.
Little hair sauce.
Zombies are wild.
They are. They're cool.
Literally. Literally wild.
Totally. Junwoo barricaded himself inside and posts a rescue request on social media. This is where the social media part kind of kicks in.
Yes. Yeah.
He does a little bit of blogging here and there, but not a lot.
Yeah,
not
like,
as
hey
much
guys,
as they
I'm alive. This is where I am. Somebody please help.
Yeah. No help comes. Within days, the neighborhood is overrun with infected. Though the emergency power stays on, Junwoo gradually loses access to running water, internet service, and phone networks.
That's when he's such a dummy, is when, like, he spills water over, and, like, you and I are both like, okay, first thing you do is, like, assess the food situation and assess the water situation.
He did at first.
Yes.
He rationed, he thought was enough.
He tried.
He didn't ration very good.
And with his water, like, he spills his water and then gets up to get another glass and there's no water and he's like,
so he
like,
slurps it off. He slurps it up.
Yes.
Which, I would too.
Totally.
He watches a policewoman attempt to escape the complex, but she is overwhelmed and infected. This is a rough one because
Yes.
she's fighting hard, and you think, oh, she's gonna make it. Maybe she'll be that character who can help him out.
Right.
Nope. She gets grabbed
She
and
doesn't do
bitten,
so good.
and then she gets dragged away, and he tries to help her. He tries to yell, and he's you fuckers, stop it, leave her alone, you fuckers. And she looks up, and she's like, and then she's dragged away.
Yes.
Which is sad.
But she drops her gun.
Yes, that's right. She drops her gun.
And that's, I
A little
guess,
bit of
the
foreshadowing.
thing.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah, but it's like pretty obvious though because it's, like there's a gun there. And they show it like every other scene. It's like, hey guys.
The gun's still here.
There's a gun there. It's like, oh, okay, thanks.
They should have had it. They should have had it being kicked around once a bit.
Right?
Oh well.
Yeah.
An infected man breaks into his apartment, but Junwoo manages to bait it into falling off his balcony, and it dies.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a cool little scene. He's freaking out because it's breaking through, and I saw this is coming. He's gonna, he jumped over the balcony, and the zombie chased after him, just sprang over himself. When his food and water runs low, he begins drinking from his father's liquor cabinet. As he hallucinates about his family, his phone network is restored momentarily, and he receives a voicemail from his family recording their last moments.
Yes.
Which is sad. And then he just goes into just complete sorrow and grief. Drinks himself goofy.
Yes.
And he also tries
smashing stuff.
Yeah.
Anarchy.
Yeah, he freaks out.
Yeah.
He also has some good ideas at first too. He has a drone.
Yes.
And he tapes his camera or his phone to it and tries to get up high enough so he can get reception and hear stuff. But
could you imagine if it would have run out of power or crashed or anything, a wind current got it?
Ooh.
Yeah, like I would not chance that in a million years.
Yeah.
That's too much.
But
especially when that's like your only way to communicate.
But that's a cool idea.
Totally cool idea, yeah.
I like that. That was pretty cool. Driven by grief, he prepares to hang himself, but stops when he is flashed by a laser pointer beam from Yubin, another survivor living in the apartment opposite of his balcony, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah.
You like how she's
like, spelling stuff out for him, like, hi, don't be a moron. And he's like, a moron? And he looks over at her and she's like, yeah.
And she's very critical of him too.
She's so funny. She's hilarious. I love how she's like basically, like, I don't know, I think that it's implied that they're sort of a love interest or something, but nothing ever happens. Like, they never do anything together. They don't hold hands, they don't hug, they don't kiss, they're nothing like that. They just survive together, basically. But she's like basically playing hard to get in quotations with stuff she says to him.
She plays aloof.
Hilarious. Like it calls him alludes to him being dumb all the time and stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's funny. Yeah.
and later on we find out they have a lot in common.
Yeah, exactly.
So they begin signaling to each other daily. Seeing that Junwoo is hungry, Yu Bin connects her apartment with a homemade zip line and sends him food, which is a cool scene. I like this scene.
This one was crazy because she has a baseball and she throws. I don't know why she thought she could throw a baseball to him. They're like a distance apart. Like how far away would you say they'd be? Like 100
That's probably no. That's farther than that.
Yeah.
That's probably 300 to 400 feet.
Yeah, like they're quite a far away, and so she grabs a baseball on a string and thinks she can throw it to him. And it drops like a quarter of the way, and they both stare at it, and it's like,
shit.
Oh.
As it bangs, it bangs on like a loud,
yes,
like
on the tin roof of like a car park. And so he takes his drone and ties a string to it and flies it over to her.
Yeah.
And then flies, obviously, takes it back.
Yeah.
And then
he gets some food, and he's eating, and she's, eat slowly, and he, Yeah. He looks down, and this is more plot here.
Yes.
An infected man manipulates the zip line, causing Yu Bin's table to fly and knock her out.
Yes.
The infected man climbed up the string to her apartment.
And he's like a
fireman.
Fireman, yeah.
And they're saying before on the TV that they exhibit previous behaviors that they had. Some could open doors, some would do this. This fireman, I guess he's used to climbing.
Yeah.
So he started climbing the rope.
And we named him Carl.
Yeah, we named him Carl.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
The infected man climbs up the spring to her apartment, but Junwoo distracts with his flying drone long enough for Yubin to wake up and kill it. She basically cuts his arm off.
Yeah.
And he falls.
And he's throwing bottles at him, like he's
yeah, he's
doing
trying
a
to
bunch
distract.
of stuff.
Yeah, trying to distract him and
Yeah.
give her some time to hopefully wake up or save herself.
Yeah.
And she does. And he falls and he gets smoked on the sidewalk.
Carl.
That we're choking. All the zombies look up, yelling. We're like, "That was Carl!"
No, Carl. Because their mouths are just open, snarling, and it's like,
So funny. Junwoo decides to search for supplies, finding food, clothing, and walkie-talkies in his neighbor's unit. The guy who kind of not broke in, but busted in earlier.
Yes.
And turned. He sends a walkie-talkie to Yubin, and two begin to bond.
Yeah.
This is sweet.
It's adorable. They talk like all day.
They do, and they talk about they're going to cook something together. They cook noodles together.
Oh, that's so funny. I love the cooking noodle thing.
Because he's being critical of how she's cooking. She's being critical on how he's cooking.
And like they can't see each other, but he's like, oh, I love when these two different types of ramen are mixed together, and she's literally doing it.
Same thing.
She's like, and she's just kind of like, I can never eat that much.
No.
He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
He's like, oh, I wish I had some
sesame oil.
Sesame oil, as she's pouring it into
her. And so she like starts to look around.
Looks over, like, how does he know what I'm doing? What the fuck?
Yes. Oh, it's funny.
So sweet. It's very sweet.
Yeah. Oh, she's hilarious.
The infected hordes become agitated, and Yubin knocks over some furniture while trying to hide.
Mm-hmm.
The sound causes a group to converge on her apartment, and Yunwoo distracts them by calling an adjacent unit's landline. This is smart.
This is so smart.
This is very, very good. After, she's the one telling him, "You're dumb, you're a moron."
Yeah.
This is smart on his part.
Yes.
This is well done. Realizing that they will die if they stay put, the pair rappel from their balconies, recover the policeman's revolver, and fight their way to the 8th floor of Yu Woon's apartment together, determining that the floor is safe. Which she watches earlier, and she's like, 8th floor, and you think, what's again foreshadowing?
Right.
The horde finds them, but a stranger emerges from his apartment and saves the pair.
Yes, just barely. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, she's banging on doors trying to get into apartments, and he's holding off the hordes. And then she's like banging on the apartment, and somebody pops open and just grabs her and pulls her in. And then he throws a smoke grenade, and our main character scuttles into his apartment, like barely.
Yeah.
Like, by the skin of his teeth. Yeah.
So they're in the stranger's home. The pair accepts his food, which we kind of assumed.
Nick and I were immediately like, you never take water or food from people that you've just met, ever, in an apocalyptic situation.
And
ever.
They were leery at first too, especially she was.
Yes.
And then, the guys, oh, I understand, you guys just survived, this way. And he takes a drink, and right away Yun-Woo thinks, oh, well, it's good to go, because he took a drink.
Yeah, if he's drinking it, then we're fine.
And she's like, what are you doing? He's like, no, it's fine, take a drink. And she's like, okay.
And, I live by the notion of, if something seems too good to be, then it usually is.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust anybody.
No.
And that's why we'd survive. Just saying. So, and then he walks over and lights a cigarette, and our main character, we see is, I was like, Nick, and he's, completely passed out.
He's zonks out.
And she starts to get woozy.
Yeah. The stranger cuffs the inebriated pair, then tries to feed Yubin to his infected wife.
Yeah.
So he's got some little bit of backstory, but he also he tells them that we've just got to stay alive until the evacuation comes.
Yes.
And at first I'm like, he's bullshitting.
Yeah. There's, what? Because our main character smashed his TV in anarchy.
Yeah.
So,
You don't know if this is a lie or he's just trying to calm them. Because when he tells them that, they're both so happy. Yubin hugs the girl.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Yubin. Yeah. Junwoo hugs the girl. Let's call him Jun and Yu. Jun, he hugs her, and she's like her reaction to that is like, he's hugging me.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of, grabs his arm and it's like, they're there. Like,
Yeah.
She
That's
doesn't,
great.
she doesn't, hug him back or anything, but
Exactly.
you can tell that she's kind of relieved and
Yes.
until they get drugged.
Yay, drugs.
Yeah. So, basically, yeah. So she gets thrown in. Let me tell you again. While they're knocked out, the stranger, he zip ties their hands together,
Yep.
and he drags the girl into this baby's room.
Yes.
And he also says before, this is my family room, or this is my house. If we see a picture on the wall that's not of him.
Yes.
So you assume that he kind of broke in with his wife. She's infected.
And he said he has no children.
Yeah.
The house is full of baby stuff. So.
Yeah. And like the girl she picks out, Woo. You.
Yeah.
I hate these names. She figures out pretty quick, she's looking around, she's picking up, something's off.
Yeah.
And so she's dragged into the baby's room.
Yep.
And there's this woman there. She's kind of tied up, not really.
Right.
And
she's like attached to like a pulley, basically.
Yeah,
and he's on the other side, like letting her go.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Well, no, it makes sense because that way she can't attack him.
Right.
And he unwraps it and kind of slowly loosens it. And during this time, Yoon wakes up.
Yeah.
And he has the gun. And he's threatening the guy, let her go, just let her go. And she's like, no, my wife is starving. I got to feed her.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? You let my wife eat the girl, and you get to go.
Just leave. Yeah.
You can take all the food you want. Just I want my wife fed. That's
Yeah.
all. And he's got noble intentions, just wrong.
Right.
Terribly wrong. So Yubin is able to wrap a bag over the infected wife's head, then release the zombie upon her husband. Because
Yes.
June kind of breaks in.
Yeah, he gets the door open.
Yeah. And then she basically jumps into her husband and starts eating, bites his neck and just yum.
Nom, nom, nom,
And he's like, yep, that's okay. He
Yeah,
kind of accepted that right there. So Yubin shoots them both with a revolver, but the gunshots attracted the infected.
Right, which, like, obviously, you know.
And I missed this part. I don't know how I missed it, but Yubin asks Yoon Woo to mercy kill her.
Yes.
However, Yoon Woo hears helicopters outside, and he's heartbroken. He can't.
And I thought that she was going to be infected, and that's why she was asking.
I did too.
I was like, she has to have got, because we see a bit of the struggle, and she is not winning the struggle between the guy's wife, the masked man's wife. And so I was like, man, like, as they're staring into each other's eyes, I was like, Nick, her eyes are going to start bleeding. We've seen it happen already.
I was expecting
that would be such a good twist. Oh, and you kind of like amp it up. You're like, okay, I'm ready for it. Do it. And then it doesn't happen.
Or even
She's
if she...
fine. How dare she?
Or even if, he says, I can't do it, she just runs and jumps out the window.
Exactly. Something. Yeah.
But they didn't. No. They hear helicopters. The pair fight their way to the rooftop, chased by the infected.
Yes.
Just as they're about to be overwhelmed, an army helicopter shoots the horde down, and the pair are flown off to safety.
Yes.
A voiceover of an anchorman explains that wireless networks are being restored, and the military has begun rescuing survivors who made social media posts.
Woohoo!
The end.
Throw the social media back in there. The end.
The end.
Kind of disappointed that all the good people survived. Don't laugh at me. How dare you? I hate in horror movies when all the characters make it out alive. Is that heartless of me? Yes. Do I know it's heartless of me? Also yes. Do I care? No.
No.
I think you have to suffer a horrible heartbreak in a horror movie or it just doesn't feel complete to me.
Yeah, there gotta be something major to survive.
Exactly. And something, like, I find, especially, like, it's always near the end, give you something to fight for, Yeah. Like, oh, they didn't make it, but now I will. Brr, that kind of stuff.
Something to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice something to survive.
Yes. Like,
What are you
I
willing
like.
to give up?
I know I keep bringing it up. I don't know why. It keeps popping into my head. But in the 28 Days Later, the alternate ending where the guy dies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that, I felt that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But when they all survive, I'm like, oh.
But people they want the happy ending.
Always. That's the human nature. You want the good guy to win.
You want the
bad guy
underdog to
lose.
win. Defy the odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat all the zombies somehow and make it to the helicopter.
Yeah.
And I get that, and like I feel that, but I want that, in a rom-com. I want the girl to end up with the guy and them to live happily ever after and get a dog and make some kids. You know what I mean? Like, I want that in a rom-com. I don't want that in a horror movie. I need everybody to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anarchy.
They should reverse it. Have the really rough, unhappy ending in romances, and have the nice ones in horror movies.
Yeah, like I just want Freddy and Jason to go and get ice cream after they fight. That's
Yeah.
all. It's not too much to ask.
And the Notebook, they both die from deadly paper cuts.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you rate this movie? How would you rate Alive?
#live. I don't know, like 3.5. Yeah, it's kind of hanging out right in the middle there. Like I said right off the hop, it's, kind of, everything we've seen before with zombies. I'm still zombied out, and I feel like our zombie month was 100 years ago, but I'm still kind of zombied out. And, yeah, but it was good. Like, it was enjoyable. It was suspenseful. It was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it felt very, like, with it, especially with, like, everybody, with the pandemic still raging on, the thought of being trapped in your house or in your apartment is kind of like, it hits close to home, sort of.
It really does.
And, only having social media as an outlet.
Yeah.
And so, like, it felt very relevant, and, yeah, it was fun. Music, amazing.
I was going to say, because
We both loved the music.
I give this a 3.5.
Perfect, yeah.
A good 2 points that is music alone.
100%.
It's such a great music.
Yes.
It sets the mood. It's, I don't call it metal, but it's very dark rock.
different, yeah.
Dark rock, if anything.
Love it.
I loved it. I thought the movie really set the tone.
Yep.
And it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was good. It was a fun movie. I'm really glad we watched this.
The effects were great.
Yeah.
Like the look of the zombies
the
was
zombies were
great.
creepy, yes.
There wasn't much death of the zombies, besides one getting his arm cut off and falling.
Right.
But they kind of stick with the whole shot to the head, they die.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, just really major head trauma.
Yes.
Is permanently stop them.
You're right.
But other than that, there's just so many.
Yeah. Right?
And they trip a lot.
Lots of tripping. Lots of falling. But I mean, if I was a zombie, like, probably same,
Yeah. And again, these are great actors. All the extras as zombies did a fantastic job.
Awesome, yeah.
Lee,
My new dream job is zombie extra. I've decided, yeah.
nice. That'd be good.
Right? It'd be fun to just lumber around with full makeup on. I could get into that. Yeah.
Burns.
Oh, and Ichabod's Kill of the Flick. What would we call the kill
We
of
had
the
a
flick?
few.
Yeah.
She had a few. I think it was the policewoman.
Yes.
She had the most toughest death and most brutal.
Yeah. It was a good one.
She fought. You think she's getting away, and then they just latch on and start biting. And she's gonna, she's got the gun. She points at the zombie, goes under her chin. I'm like, and I called to him, like, she just shoot herself.
Did. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And then the zombie grabbed her arm and knocked it away, and the gun was knocked away. I'm like, oh. And she struggled.
Yes.
She struggled, and it was just brutal. She didn't scream.
No.
As much as I thought.
Right.
Early at all, but she fought to the bitter end.
Yes.
And that was a very, not satisfying, but
yeah, it was good
heartbreaking.
though.
It was a heartbreaking death, I think.
The timing was fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just had to give a shout out to my main man, Carl. He really did it. Yeah. He just, his climbing, good climbing.
He
Carl.
wanted up there. He climbed up there.
He smushed that drone. He, got his arm chopped off.
He growled and yelled at Junwoo a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he did. And then he lost an arm.
Yeah, and his wrist got cut off and he fell and went splat in his hand.
And then everybody screamed Carl to the heavens. I feel that.
Carl!
Carl!
Carol!
Carl! Carl!
Oh, when those memes came out, so funny.
I love them so much. You know who else I always think, especially because of TikTok right now? Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. Everybody's doing his voice right now. They're
I've
like,
seen that.
it's like,
I've seen
I
it.
can't. Speaking of dumb movies, next week we're starting our fake Horr-Gasm month.
Fake Horr-Gasm month.
Whoop,
Yay!
whoop, whoop. And we are starting off with one of my favorite movies ever. It's so fucking stupid and wonderful. We are watching Galaxy Quest.
We are?
We're watching Galaxy Quest.
Oh yeah, it's on your Galaxy. I love Galaxy Quest. I
know that Tim
Love
Allen
it.
is not a nice man in real life. Like, I've just, like,
Well,
obviously
I
don't
know
know him.
about that.
I don't know him personally, but I have heard he's not the nicest. But this movie is my life. I love this movie. I love everything he makes. I love Toy Story. I love Last Man Standing. I love Home Improvement.
And the thing
I
is, it's
fucking love this.
not just Tim Allen.
Yes.
We have
Sigourney
Weaver.
Alan Rickman.
Yes, the late great Alan Rickman.
Wonderful.
What's the guy who played?
Justin Long is in this too, isn't
Oh, that's
he?
right. Yeah,
As an extra.
I think it's his first movie.
I'm sure it's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is what's his name, who is from not Bones.
The guy from Monk and 13 Ghosts.
Monk. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, 13 Ghost guy.
Yeah, this is a awesome
Such
cast.
a good cast. It's just
Even some of like the alien guys. I forget
yes.
his and her name. One of them, he was in the. It was that handicapped movie, which is really good.
Like The Ringer? Is
Thank
that who you're
you.
talking about?
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
thinking the girl alien, she plays the mom of the bubblegum chewing lady in the new Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, she does too.
She does, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's lots of, as you can tell from how we're talking, it's lots of like, you don't know their name, but they're in all these movies as extras. Like a bunch of those people.
I am really excited now for this movie.
I am too. I
love
fucking love
Galaxy
Galaxy
Quest.
Quest. I've watched it quite recently too. Like this summer, Dad and I were sitting out in the, like, because we have it on VHS.
Yes, you do. Yes, he
We
does.
put it in our little VHS player and we're watching it and drinking beer and I'm like, fuck, this movie's good. Like it hits every time. It's so funny. Yeah. I'm excited.
Oh, we're gonna have so much fun with this one.
We're gonna have a lot of fun, yeah.
And since this is a couple days before Halloween,
Yeah.
we should do a Halloween special.
Ooh, how spooky scary of you.
I know what we should watch.
What?
Ernest Scared Stupid. Maybe.
Ernest
There's
Scared
other movies that are in the Halloween season.
They're
Well,
Halloween-ish.
Halloween movie. Hocus Pocus, maybe. There's classics off Disney Channel. There's Halloween Town.
Oh man.
There has to be something, that's well known. We'll think
For
of
the
something.
holiday.
We'll
yeah.
think of something.
Yeah.
Something will come up.
We'll figure it out.
Our victims will figure it out.
Yeah.
When we drop it, they'll be like, "Oh, really? Pick this one? Come on."
Yeah, come for us.
Okay.
Come for us. Put on a mask
No,
and
where I
grab
was
a knife.
That's Friday the 13th.
Well, I mean, it could
That's
be
not-
lots of
that
things,
is-
though.
That is not Halloween whatsoever. Come on, Alana.
Sorry, my bad.
Jeez.
And thank you so much for joining us. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at GasmHorror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week, because we have such sights to show you. Plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience.
Later.
Bye!